neighbors are arguing over construction, so yeah. Okay. I closed out a lot of my applications, so hopefully it's get back to speed here. Oh my god, why didn't I jump? Damn it. Cat. Damn it. I looked over at the cat. Damn it. Some of my eye. Oh my god, the cat. Come on. Come on. Oh goodness. So about TF2, man. That's sad. That's really sad. All the bots taking over. Save TF2. Damn it, why did I jump? Yeah, that sucks about TF2, for real. Oh my gosh. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Come on. I'm not picking you up. Damn it. Yeah. What else was I going to talk about today? Oh, I think I was going to talk about my history of content creation. Oh my gosh. So what I realized today is that I've basically been producing content for a decade. My first video was in, I think, April of 2014. And I don't know, that just kind of hit me because there's so many different ways to look at it. I would say probably the most common way to look at it is don't make it at all because you'll never make any money at it, blah blah blah. That's what most people think about content creation. Sorry. That's just the way most people think about content creation, you know. I don't know. I don't really want to be like that. I mean, it's such a weird phenomenon. Like, if you don't want to make content, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you just want to watch, there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, why do so many of us want to? You know, I don't know. I guess it's just maybe it's a personality difference. Most people just don't want to. But it just doesn't really bother me that I'm not famous. You know, like it used to, sure. You know, but I don't really do that anymore. It's just, I can't figure out why more people don't really want to make content. Like, I guess there's two types of people when it comes to content creation: people who make it and people who don't. And as far as the people who don't, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, you don't want to be out there. You don't want, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But what about the people who do want to make it? You know, I guess there's a lot of different motivations for why people want to make content. And For me, I feel like it's maybe imitation. I don't know. Maybe money's a part of it. Sure. Because you can see so many people making money at it. You're like, okay, sure. Damn it. But I also feel like there's like an artistic side to it. Why does anybody make any art at all? Why do people draw? Why do people write? You know, why do people design video games? I honestly feel like it's a similar answer to why people make content, YouTube videos. And damn it, it's weird. You have the content creators and you have people who don't create content. And the people who don't create content, they just try to disincentivize everybody. Like, even though they watch content, they try to like disincentivize anybody from making content, especially new people starting out, which I don't get, unless it's just covetousness. Like, well, they're covetous that you decide to make content and they don't, which is kind of easy to dismiss. But other than that, why would they discourage people from making content? Because making content is it's really educational in and of itself. Because I would say in the decade that I've been making content, oh, I hate this. The sun's out. I can't see anything. Oh my gosh, I can't see. Damn it. I'll have to move in the shade, I guess. But I would say in the decade, because I've been making content for a decade, like I said, and it started out. Oh no, here we go. Instacart's going to screw me up again. Oh my god, please just close. I uninstalled. You should not open up. Okay. I would say, I guess, first of all, the fact that I've been making content for a decade is really interesting. Because on the one hand, somebody could say, milk. You've been making content for a decade, nobody's watched. Just give it up. All right, that's probably the most common response I would get. But why do I like watching content? Why do I want to make content? There's something they don't understand. I don't understand what they don't understand. I don't understand what they don't understand. But in the decade that I've been making content, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is don't just make content for yourself. Damn it. Don't just make content for yourself. That's definitely the biggest lesson I've learned. Because when I first started making content a decade ago, I made content for 4 years that was just for me. I didn't care about what anybody else wanted to see. It was all mine. It was my little artistic project, which is the way most people view art. And I don't recommend doing that. But every video was like my own, and I didn't care about how bad it was. It was mine. I made it. And I didn't care about feedback. I didn't care about satisfying viewers. I just wanted viewers to like worship the ground I walked on or something. And it's funny, you can see other people do that in their content creation. And it's never going to work that way. But you can see that in so many people. Damn it. I'm not going to mention any names, but most people do that when they start out. It's all about them. It's all about me as a producer. It's all about me hanging out with my friends. I don't care what you, the viewer, think about me and my friends. Like, I hope you like it, but I'm not going to change anything. There's no compromise. There's no middle ground. And you're honestly never going to succeed without compromise and middle ground. That's the biggest thing I've learned in literally a decade of content creation. Compromise has to happen. Now, I'm not saying you completely sell out and don't and like find nothing redeeming about what you're doing. There's plenty of places that do that. What I would call indie mass production companies. They only care about the numbers, and that's if that's what you want to do, that's okay. I would recommend doing both. find a middle ground, damn it, between what you're passionate about and what viewers want to see. That's probably the biggest lesson I've learned in a decade of doing this. Is you don't have to completely sell out and like find nothing interesting about what you do. If you do that, I mean, it's kind of, it's fine to treat it just like a job and soulless, and it is what it is. That's the way most jobs are. Production and consumption are different. I think I've said it before. Producing a hamburger is a lot different than consuming a hamburger. So if you're working for a mass, even if you're kind of indie, but if you're working for a mass media company and you don't find any value in what you're doing, you really just have to look at the numbers you're doing and find solace in that, because that's the way most jobs are. Nobody cares about manufacturing, but consumption is king, and it's the same way when it comes to media, I would say. And that's kind of what I've learned when it comes to media. It's not all about what I want. It's not all about what I want. It's not all about what I want to produce. Now, is that part of it? Sure. I don't want to be a mass media producer that doesn't enjoy. Make sure I'm recording. That doesn't enjoy what he does, but at the same time, I don't want to be, a nobody making thousands of videos that nobody sees, and then eventually he starts making videos, live streaming himself, complaining that nobody's watching his video. You can't do that. You have to find a middle ground between what you want to produce and what people want to watch, and that's the biggest lesson I've learned in a decade of doing this. It took me a long time to come to that conclusion, because I, like most people, are very stubborn. What do you mean you don't want to watch my art? What's wrong with my art? Like Tommy Wiseau type of stuff. Like, if you can if you can roll with what people think about it, then that's fine. But if you can't, if you're going to get proud and butthurt over it, then don't put anything out there publicly. And try to find a compromise between what you want and what the viewer wants. That's the biggest thing I would say, and I've learned in a decade of content production. It was all me, and it just doesn't work that way. Just find a compromise. Sell out a little bit. You sell out when you go to work. You sell out when you wake up at 6 a.m. You sell out if you're working third shift. You sell out if you're, at the fish market or whatever you're selling. You sell out. You gotta sell out a little bit. People act like, oh, we didn't sell out to a corporation. No, but you sold out to your patrons. Just stop. You sold out to your Patreon. You sold out to your viewer. Everybody sells out. Just get over it. Just find out find a compromise between what you're not willing to sell out on and what you are willing to sell out on. Like for me, I want to play Geometry Dash, so I made a Geometry Dash channel. What's the selling out part? Well, I created a whole separate channel for it. Would it be easier to just put it on my channel that has 100 subs on it? Sure. Does it fit the theme of the channel? I don't even know what the theme of that channel is anymore, because I'm selling out everything. But just find a compromise between what you want to make and what people want to see, and determine how much you're willing to sell out. If somebody says, hey man, I want to see you play Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm not going to sell out that far, because I want to play Geometry Dash. If you don't want to see Geometry Dash, then don't come to this channel. So find a compromise between what you're willing to give up and what you're not. That's just my advice that I would give from a literal decade of content creation. Don't be stubborn and only do what you want. Compromise between what you want to make and what the viewers want to see.